This changes everything for the Panthers and the city of Charlotte. With massive upgrades coming to Bank of America Stadium and a hint by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell of something bigger in the future, Panthers fans have a lot to be excited for. What's going on, guys? It is Tanner Blue with Carolina Panthers Digest Media. Thanks for joining me today. As always, talking Carolina Panthers football every single day, keeping you guys up to date with the latest. Guys, before we begin, always make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all the views and all of the camaraderie and building this Panthers community as we continue to grow. Training camp a few days in, obviously some bad news earlier in the week, but at least we do have something better to celebrate in terms of the Panthers as an organization and the thoughts of the city of Charlotte by the NFL and the Commissioner Roger Goodell. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to a Panthers game at Bank of America Stadium, but I've been to roughly almost 20 games. It's been fantastic watching the stadium grow and evolve and become a better place to attend an NFL game, and just a really fun stadium to watch football at, especially when the Panthers are doing well. I've had some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows being at a Panthers game, but at the end of the day, it's always so much fun. So what happens when that atmosphere and that stadium and that type of feeling can become improved upon? Well, the Carolina Panthers, we're going to figure this out here in a few couple years coming on down the road. We're going to have the opportunity to expand this feeling, expand this stadium, expand the feeling, the meaning of what it is to keep pounding. And what do I mean by that? Well, the Carolina Panthers are going to be getting a little bit of a facelift coming here in the next few seasons. The Panthers going to be doing some renovations at Bank of America Stadium as they extend the naming rights on the stadium for Bank of America, and just going to be getting a facelift in general at the stadium and adding much needed upgrades to keep things booming as the Panthers look to continue their success. A few days ago, this was announced. Several articles have been put out about this, but just want to jump to one quickly here. This is by WCNC Charlotte by author Hank Lee. Let's take a look at what Hank has to say with some of the latest that's going to be coming to Bank of America Stadium. The Carolina Panthers and Bank of America are extending their naming rights partnership for Bank of America Stadium, tying the long-standing agreement to a broader push to modernize the venue through a more than $1.3 billion renovation. Tepper Sports and Entertainment announced this extension Thursday, along new renderings that show how the stadium could look once construction is complete. The updated visuals highlight a reworked fan experience with expanded social spaces, upgraded technology, and design features inspired by the Carolinas. So a lot going to be happening here at Bank of America Stadium. Lots of new renovations. So let's take a look at some of the photos before we continue to look at the article. This right here looks so cool to me, kind of outside the stadium. If you've ever been to Bank of America, it's so much fun walking up to the stadium. The atmosphere is great if you've been on Main Street, especially when the Panthers are doing well. Fans are excited. It's loud. You've got people playing drums. You've got bands around. It's just it really feels like the city of Charlotte is coming together to watch and support the Panthers. Right here, it looks like just some outer work here is going to be done, just giving it an updated look around Bank of America Stadium once you're entering in from Main Street, it looks like. So some really cool renderings there. A lot of fired up Panthers fans. It looks like it's going to be phenomenal when everything's finished. Let's continue with the article here. What are some of the upgrades they're going to be getting? Well, let's take a look here. Among the planned improvements, we've got an open air gathering areas on multiple levels, a social patio in the upper bowl overlooking Uptown, larger upgraded scoreboards and displays, new seating options in premium hospitality spaces, expanded concessions, retail and restrooms, flexible areas designed for events beyond game days. Design elements will also reflect regional identity, incorporating materials and themes tied to the Carolinas. So really just an expansion of everything. And kind of one of my favorite renderings that I saw here is that if we go on this rendering here, kind of talk about some of the expanded social areas. You can see up top here kind of where the scoreboard is over here to the left-hand side. Obviously, the scoreboard is going to be a lot bigger, but around that top bowl, that's typically, kind of the nosebleed area. I've watched many games from the nosebleeds, and to me, that's honestly where some of the most fun goes down, because just your most diehard and rowdy Panthers fans being there. But I've sat everywhere in the stadium. But to me, this actually does seem kind of like a cool idea. I know some NFL stadiums have this sort of concept where the upper bowl area, there is more of a general area where you can just kind of stand around and watch the game from below and not necessarily have a seat, and kind of just hang out. I do think this could be potentially a cool addition. If you're going to be sitting up that high, I think this could be a cool thing for a lot of fans, and some expanded concession and just kind of a different feel opposed to regular just sitting down at a stadium. So I think this is a cool area, something that could be a lot of fun. I'm not sure what this means for any potential PSL owners who own seats kind of up in that area, however that might affect them. That would be interesting to know. That I am not sure of, but really cool design there. I think this could be something that could be a lot of fun. Another image that I really wanted to take a look at, and that they kind of expanded some of the stuff on the outside, is going to be this right here. As we take a look, there's kind of an outdoor space area for added entertainment. So as we can see over there on the far left side of the image, where the fans are walking around, it could be like an entertainment pavilion, maybe some concerts, or just someone to hype up the crowd before games, or maybe during concerts, or Charlotte FC games, whatever is going on that day, that weekend at Bank of America Stadium. There's going to be something kind of set up in that area to keep guys entertained before the event starts. So I do think that is a cool option. Another thing I wanted to discuss here is going to be kind of the inside area. There has been, I believe, 1 or 2 times I've been on the silver level, kind of the middle bowl, where you really get to see some of the expanded hospitality. And man, it's phenomenal. I know it can be quite expensive, but if you ever have the opportunity to do it, especially with what they're going to be expanding on here, it's definitely worth giving it a shot. The indoor areas are fantastic. It's just really homey, and it feels like you're a part of something bigger. And it really it's a fun atmosphere to be around. So definitely a cool spot to be in, and they're going to be upgrading that stuff, as we can see here as well. So the bank, as we call it, is going to be getting a facelift. Really enjoying some of these renderings and what we could expect here. A little bit more about the article that we were talking about here. I want to show you here. Work on the multi-year renovation is already underway. It is being phased to avoid disruption to scheduled events. The stadium is expected to continue hosting Panthers and Charlotte FC games throughout construction. Interior upgrades are happening in 2026, with more visible fan-facing improvements scheduled to begin in 2027. And I believe somewhere in a few other articles I've seen, don't quote me on this, but I believe they're saying maybe 2030 for everything to be complete. It could be a lot sooner than that. So overall, just a lot of cool renovations coming over to Bank of America Stadium. One last thing before we get out of here and hop into the big tease by the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. I just want to look at the rendering one more time with you guys and just give you my overall thoughts. This is cool. There were a lot of people talking about, excuse me, let me pull this image up. There were a lot of people talking about they weren't, there were some talks about a retractable dome and things going over the top of the stadium. I know a lot of fans were not a fan of that, and to me, I agree with them. To me, football, for the most part, is meant to be played outside. You play in North Carolina. The weather is really good for football down here, and I just don't want to see a dome on the bank. It seems like it's becoming a very common thing for stadiums to have domes to host more events, but glad that the Panthers are sticking with what they've got. Let's expand what we have. Let's make it nicer, but no dome is needed, and to me, I'm fine with that. This looks like the scoreboards are getting updated. You see the outside pavilion area. There's going to be entertainment. It's just a nice upgrade overall to the bank, as we call it. So really looking forward to that. But there was one tease that was mentioned by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell when he was at this event kind of a little bit later on in the evening, talking about, could there ever be a Super Bowl in Charlotte? Well, I don't want to quote the man, but basically he said something along the lines of, if the city continues to grow, if things continue to happen, more hotels, more restaurants, more things coming to the city of Charlotte, it could happen. It could definitely happen at one point down the future. So maybe in 10 years, City of Charlotte could be hosting a Super Bowl. He also did add some information that he thinks that the city of Charlotte could also be ready to host an NFL draft. We've seen the last few years the draft really bouncing around from major city to city, area to area with some of the major NFL teams. So Charlotte could be getting an NFL draft at some point. So really thought that was cool. Really think this is special for the city of Charlotte. 10, 15 years ago, around the 2010s, whenever things were down in the dumps, there was talks of the Panthers being sold at one point and moved to a different area. Thank goodness that is no longer the case. The bank is here to stay, and it's going to be getting some much-needed upgrades. So if you've never attended a Panthers game, I encourage you to do so this year. The bank is a really good atmosphere. It's a great stadium, a lot of fun to be at. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, keep pounding. We'll see you on the next one.